Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. This one is captaincy model. Now we're going to have a look at the numbers for game week 5 shortly, but before that we'll just quickly go over how we got on in game week 4. So you can see the numbers on screen. Haaland obviously was top and he performed 13 points, which is great. The next lot of players blanked. So as you can see, Salah was second, Eze, De Bruyne, Palmer, Jota, Trent and João Pedro, who didn't play. All of those blanked. And then Saka in 9th, Fernandes in 10th, both got an assist. So ex-mins wise, we'll just run through that quickly. So Haaland, Salah, Eze, De Bruyne and Palmer, the top 5, all played 90 minutes, I believe. So De Bruyne is the only one who's not up there kind of on the 85, 86 mark for expected minutes, just because historically he hasn't been a 90-minute guy. So I've had a tough time kind of putting him up. Each week I've been gradually putting him up and had him at 80 last week. He's played another 90 minutes, so he'll get another boost for the game week 5 ex-mins as well. But he was unlucky not to get a return, and he was actually unlucky not to get a return last week as well. He's been performing very well. So, yeah, if you own De Bruyne, you can consider yourself pretty unlucky, I'd say. But, yeah, so I don't mind kind of where I've gone with X minutes on all of these. I mean, Salah came off once, I think. Eze, I don't think has actually come off at all, so he could be bumped a little bit. Palmer has come off a few times, but didn't this week. So I think that around somewhere between 85 and 88 for all of them is pretty fine. Like I say, I will up De Bruyne this week as well, as you'll see in the next part. Jota came off, I think, on the 60th minute, which probably wasn't a surprise given that Liverpool have Champions League fixtures between game week 4 and 5. So kind of expected some rest in there, and he got that. Trent played 90 minutes though, which I think is the first time he's done that this season. Conor Bradley came on, but not for Trent. Trent moved into centre midfield when that happened, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I think Trent moved into centre mid when Conor Bradley came on. Because I think he might have come on from McAllister, I want to say. Could be wrong on that, but pretty sure that's what happened. Obviously, João Pedro wasn't in the squad at all. Got 0 minutes, 0 points. So not that we really... he came back with a little bit of a knock, I think that the Brighton manager said. Not that we could do anything about that. We didn't know that pre-deadline, so I think it was fine to have his X minutes at 80-ish this week. But yeah, I might put them down a little bit for next week. We'll see what that is. Then Saka and Fernandes. Saka came off around 85, 86 minutes. I think he was limping a little bit, but I highly doubt he'll be out for next week. And Fernandes played 90. Fernandes could be up 88, 89, to be honest. He did just have that one early sub a few weeks ago. That's why he's not up there. They got assists. But yeah, besides Haaland, it was a load of 2, 3, 1-pointers. So anyway, let's look at game week 5. Okay, and on to the game week 5 numbers now. As you can see on screen, Salah is top. That was probably expected by most people. Haaland is in 4th this week as he plays Arsenal at home. And we have Son in 2nd, Palmer in 3rd. As you can see, if you look at the X points column, Salah is over 1 whole expected point above 2nd place Son. So it's not that close this week. Salah is by far the best choice. So if you do have him, put the armband on him. Even though him and Liverpool didn't perform as expected last week against Forest, he is the best captaincy option this week. So yeah, if you do have him, put the armband on him. If you don't have him, like myself, I'll be thinking about a way to get him in for this week, especially as you can, well, most people, if they haven't used their wild card already, can wild card in game week 6 to potentially get Haaland back if you need to take him out to get Salah. But yeah, What is interesting though is Jota is in 5th and he's on 67 X minutes I put him to. Yet he still comes in 5th place, which is quite impressive given the rest of the players around him on this list are 80 plus minutes. So if you do have Jota and maybe don't have Salah and you think that Jota will get some good minutes, then by all means go for him. I've got Trent. Trent is in 6th there. I've given him 80 minutes. Don't really know where to put Trent minutes wise. He's quite hard to predict, but 80 seems okay. Watkins bumped up massively because he obviously played 84 minutes this week. Previously, the maximum that he'd got was 65 minutes in the first 3 game weeks, but he got 84 this week. We've seen that him and Duran are actually playing together as well, which is useful for Watkins. So they do have a Champions League fixture during the week, so I don't want to put his minutes up too much because he probably will play in that Champions League game, meaning that his minutes may be a little bit managed in Game Week 5, but we will see. It's a good fixture, Wolves at home. Then Eze with Man United at home, his minutes are obviously very good. He's played 90 minutes a lot. So I've got him at 88. Man United's a pretty good fixture, especially Man United at home. And the only thing that is a little bit worrying is obviously Mateta took the penalty that Palace won in Game Week 4. So Eze doesn't have quite the appeal that he potentially did have before if he was just on pens. But nevertheless, still a great pick. João Pedro's still in 9th, so I've put João Pedro on 78 expected minutes. That was quite a tough one because he's either going to be available or he's not. And it's hard to kind of put that into expected minutes. If he is available, I would expect him to start, and judging by game weeks 1 to 3, he hasn't come off before the 80th minute. So if he does start, he's likely to get 85, 90 minutes. And this kind of 78 minute mark is just a hedge if he doesn't start. So he's in their 9th. KDB, I've bumped up from 80 minutes to 85 minutes. I'm still not convinced that KDB is this 90-minute player. Obviously, in game weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, they didn't have any other fixtures like Champions League or anything. Now they do have Champions League. So we may see KDB getting a few more earlier subs, but if he continues to play 90, I'll just keep bumping it up each week, although there's not much further I can go now. What is also interesting on this list is that if you've watched these captaincy videos before, you'll know that for some reason the model doesn't like Isak. I'm not sure the reason for that, but Isak never shows up very highly. Now, obviously, we saw Isak go off at half time in the Newcastle game at the weekend, but for the purposes of this captaincy model, I put his expected minutes at 86, so it's not an expected minutes problem. That's the reason he's not on here. The model just doesn't seem to like him too much. Again, I always keep looking into that to try and understand why, but I can't really understand it. Again, Solanke, I expected Solanke to be in this top 10 as well. Judging by other benchmarks and other models, I thought he would be in here. He's not. Again, that's not a minutes problem. I put his minutes pretty high. Can't remember what now. Somewhere between 80, 83, around something like that. So not low by any stretch. Again, he doesn't show up. So it could just be a forward thing because we're not seeing loads of forwards in here. Obviously, Haaland will always be in the top 10 probably. Watkins is in because he's got a great fixture. João Pedro's in. So the fact that João Pedro's in suggests that you'd maybe expect Solanke to be and Isak to be, because it's not a penalty thing because Isak is most likely on penalties as well as João Pedro. Not sure what it is, but he's not anyway. So yeah, neither of them are in, but they are close. They are somewhere between 10 and 15. So it's not like they're miles off of it. Another interesting one is Luis Diaz. Obviously, Jota is in 5th here. I put Luis Diaz's minutes to 67, same as Jota. But for some reason, Diaz is expected less points, or projected fewer points, than Jota is. Now, maybe that's just because Jota's playing up front, so the model and kind of the inputs and underlines just take that. But yeah, Jota is higher up. Again, it's not by much. I think that I'm pretty sure Diaz, again, is somewhere like 11, 12, 13th. He's not far off of it. Another player that isn't far off of it is Bruno Fernandes. He is definitely top 15, very close to top 10. But the top three, Salah, Son, Palmer, Haaland in fourth, although tied with Palmer. So if you have Salah, he's definitely the one to go for. He is over one projected point above second place Son. If you don't have Salah, it might be worth trying to figure out a way to get him. I'm in that predicament myself. I may go for a transfer to Salah, potentially from Saka, who obviously isn't in this list because of the fixture. I may just ride it out and put the captain's armband on Haaland and hope for the best. But yeah, if you think I've got any of these expected minutes wrong majorly, then let me know in the comments. But that is all for this week. If you liked it, do give it a like, do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.